Namaste. This is Yoga Therapy Podcast, and I'm your host, Shira Kahan, yoga teacher, yoga therapist, and Ayurvedic wellness educator. In these conversations with experts in the field of yoga therapy, you'll find out what it is and how it can help you and your loved ones to reclaim well-being. We'll touch on physical as well as mental health, physiology, emotions, women's health, spiritual well-being, goddesses, and self-development in the fullest sense. Listening to another story can change ours, so thank you for showing up, and let's begin this journey together. So hello everyone, it's been a very long time since I've done my last podcast, and it's because I'm really busy with work, so I'm very happy. I've been hired in by a clinical psychologist who runs his own practice, and he wants to support his clients through a holistic kind of network of therapists and psychologists and coaches. So I'm doing emotional coaching, mindfulness, and yoga therapy there. And it's going really well. So this is since about 2 months, and it's just going very well. It's going great. And I'm getting paid really good. So I'm really happy, but I'm also part of a wonderful team, and it's all kind of in a process of evolution. So we're seeing what works and how we can best support each client and what's the best way to go about it so they get the most out of it. It's not just talk therapy, but actually taking action. So yeah, I'm very excited, and that's why I'm not doing any podcasts at the moment, and I probably won't for the next couple of months. I want to try and do at least once a month that I come and check in. So this month it's solstice today, so that's why I'm doing this podcast. And I'm paying a lot of attention to astrology just because of the state of the world. Let's get real and be honest about the situation. It's pretty screwed up on all levels. There's so much censorship that people are self-censoring themselves just in normal conversations. Basically, ever since COVID, everyone's afraid to just speak anything because whatever's not the mainstream narrative is shut down. So what happens is this affects mental health. The people I work with are all quite young, and you can see these young people are all very afraid and anxious, and it's just traumatic, basically, that we can't just speak our minds, that we can't have this wide-ranged, nuanced conversations anymore without someone having something to say about anything we say. We can't have our own opinions, values, ideas. We're being shut down. We're being asked to shut down, basically, on every level of being a social being. So, yeah, what does astrology say about this? Well, astrology is really important. If you look at the Vedic studies, everything in the Vedic studies is connected, whether that's grammar, so language, whether that's the soul, our values, ethics, morals, whether that's how we eat, our relationships to ourselves, to our food, to others, so Ayurveda. Then there's also the Jyotish, which is the astrology. So there's 6 different pillars, and they're all connected. So whether we're looking at the planets, the planet ourselves, and everything that is involved in a human existence, we need to be clear about what's going on if we want to make change. And I think we're all kind of fed up with what's going on. And so what's happening in America is now the political sphere and this lobbying, and that basically governments have sold out. Okay, maybe it's not called corruption because it's allowed to bribe political leaders in most countries these days. So it's not illegal, it's not corrupt in that sense, but there is total meltdown, basically, of moral values, ethics, meaning. It doesn't exist anymore in the political sphere. We have to find other ways to create societies that are healthy on more than just the financial level. If we're just looking at economics, already we can see there's a very big imbalance, and then that trickles down into every other sphere of life. So yes, this is a political conversation, because right now politics is just affecting every part of our lives. We can't seem to squirm our ways out of this. And it's not by voting that we're actually going to change anything, because everyone's sold out, basically. So I use astrology just to calm my mind, to get some clarity, to take distance, to see this at a universal level. So what's going on universally, or at least in the solar system, in our galaxy, we can see that all the planets for the last 3 years have been pretty much in retrograde. Not all of them, but many of them. So as of this month, end of this month, for the next coming months, all the planets will finally start to go forward again, which means, so when the planets are in retrograde, let's just use the moon as the first example, because the moon, everyone knows how the moon affects the earth, the water, the bodies of water, the weather, and women's cycles, and also all men's cycles, but people don't realize that. It's not as obvious to see. So the moon affects our moods, our emotions, everything that's to do with the water element within our body. So physiology, hormones, things like this, chemicals within the body. Then there's Mercury, which is a very fast planet. It moves around the sun very quickly. And so what's fast in ourselves? It's the mind. Mind is very quick. So the mind is associated to Mercury. And so all the planets like Mars is also fast, but it's very hot and it's very like pushy and powerful. So that's to do with our warrior kind of aspect, the part of us that makes things happen, the part of us that takes action, that does physical strength, like it's a big body. Mars has a lot of energy. So each planet is connected to these. So you can imagine when all these planets, so all these aspects of ourselves, our mind, our emotions, our ability to act in the world, have all been in retrograde, and they're all finally starting to move. Or some of them, like Mars, is now in standstill. Jupiter, which is about our growth, it's a huge planet, so it's about expansion, positivity, the future. That is starting to move forward. So we're going to start feeling that. They've been going forwards and backwards, some of them like Mars and Jupiter, especially this year. So you could have felt that things were moving and then they stopped again. So this is really helpful to make it relative, because sometimes we're like, what the hell is going on and how do I get a grip on things? So now I'm financially stable. I feel much better, but I still feel powerless in the situation that we're in. Like, how can I affect the future for my daughter? How can I affect the world in a way that my daughter's going to grow up in a world that I was growing up into, where you still dream and think about a future, where this seems to be taken away. And when we don't have a future, what's the point? So sometimes I hear my daughter say, well, what's the point? Because kids are not stupid. Doesn't matter what age they are, they know what's going on. They feel, and that's why like all these children with ADHD and autism, they're just very sensitive kids. They're picking up on lots of things. There's so much going on, and so much which is not honest, which is not authentic, which is not transparent, and they pick up on all of it. We all do. So our bodies are just receptors for all these signals being sent out, whether that's from planets or people or projects, whatever, politics. It's all for you to grasp. And that's why we're all going a little nuts at the moment, because we know there's no future in the way we're going, basically. And so I think it's important that everyone realizes that we have power, but we have to realize that we can't wait for others who have no integrity and no sense of reality to make those steps and choices. We have to do it ourselves, which is frightening, but it's also empowering. So I'm going to do a little sequence, a yoga sequence. It's very easy. I've been doing it for the last few weeks, and I just wanted to bring it to the solstice and these coming 4 months that we have, because this is also a time when the universal energies and the planetary energies, because they're all moving forward, and because also another thing, scientifically, I haven't got the paper, I'll put it in the show notes, but I haven't got it in front of me. But there's been research that people who've been infected by COVID and those who've been vaccinated, so pretty much the whole population of the planet now, but those who've been vaccinated 4 times as much so, is that the stem cells of your body are repressed in being produced. So stem cells are basically the basic cells of anything. They can become any other cell. So stem cells are the basis of every other cell in your body. All your white blood cells, so your immunity, your red blood cells, which become the basic building blocks of all your tissues, your organs, your muscles, everything in the body, basically. So they are repressed. They are not being produced as much as normal. I can't remember the percentages. I'll find the paper and put it up. But that's huge. And that means, on the one side, that we're physically not as strong. But also, if you look at it at a metaphysical kind of level, it means that our physical structure is lighter. It means we are much more susceptible to universal energies. So it's really important in these coming 4 months to really just channel good energy, be around positive people, not just positive in the airy-fairy, happy bullshit stuff. I mean, like positive as in uplifting, proactive, taking action, making steps, educating yourself, getting intelligent and clear on how we can start to form this world. So another thing that's happening is we're finally moving into the age of Aquarius, which we've been talking about since the hippie times, but an age lasts for about 2,000 years. So we're finally moving into Aquarius, which is all about the collective, about society and community, grassroots. So it's how do we do it together, not how do a few rule over the others, which is, we're still in a kind of feudalistic society, which has been dressed in democracy, but now we're starting to see those themes fall apart, I think, personally. Okay, this is just my opinion. This is no longer yoga therapy. This is just me reading lots of political books and watching what's going on the political stage, basically, because it's all a big theater. And yeah, I've just found this amazing professor of anthropology, social anthropology, which is different to cultural anthropology. His name is David Graeber, and I just found a book of his called The Dawn of Everything. It's his last book, A New History of Humanity, and he writes it together with David Wengrow. And he died, David Graeber, just 2 years ago, which is unfortunate because he's an amazing thinker. He's also an anarchist in the pure sense of thinking totally outside the box, like there is no box. We're just thinking for everyone. And because he's an anthropologist who also looks at everything, he's a philosopher, he's an activist. He really, in this book, dismantles all the myths we have. And these myths, when you think about myths, and myth I mean here in the derogatory sense, not in the good thing that inspires us. So the stories we believe about our history, and when history influences how we think our future can go, like, so what's the trajectory? But he paints with Wengrow, he paints this amazing picture of that there was actually a huge what do you call that? Huge range of different societies in the last 30,000 years. It's not like we're moving from forest foragers and hunter-gatherers to little villages, then cities and states. That's not how it is. Yes, some have done that, but not very many. And there's been conscious choice throughout humanity. He's also saying that all these stories about us being apes and only being conscious in not such a long time, maybe the last few thousand years, is nonsense. We are self-conscious. We've always been self-conscious, and there's always been this choice to think about how we create our society. So in this book, it's a great book. I recommend it to anyone who's into history and about wants to understand social structures and what's going on. It's not only very well written, funny, insightful. It talks about history all over the planet, but he's witty, and he takes the mickey out of the stupidity of some of our writers and some of the things we've just taken for truth. Basically, a few popular writers, and that's just been expounded upon without actually realizing that it wasn't even true. So it's very funny because it just dismantles a lot of concepts that we have, and then gives us back our ability to be creative, to make new choices, and to create and co-create new communities and societies, ones that are uplifting and empowering and enable us to feel good about ourselves. So I've had this conversation in all my yoga classes at the community center, but also the yoga studio. I have this conversation in the psychology clinic. Basically, everyone is fed up, and everyone's seeing through this nonsense of seeing people as profit models and the business model being the way forward. It's not. We can't be evergreen. Degrowth is also not necessary. There's something in between. We can just dump all of that and start something new. But we've all got to get on that page together, and we can't do it by people sticking their heads in the sand or waiting around. We've all got to be the actors in this play. So yeah, and for that, for us to be the actors, so sorry, this is a very like get up and stand up kind of podcast, but I think it's something I've been wanting to do for maybe a year now, and I thought, no, this is not the space to do it. But yes, it is the space to do it. If not here, then where? You know? So we have to first get clear on what we want, clear on how we want to see that world, because clarity is power, and power is the ability to do work, if you look in the dictionary. And that ability to do work enables us to create the structural changes that we need and all seek. We're all seeking structural changes. We don't want to live in a world that's basically all about domination, the few rich who are telling us, the rest of the world, the 99%, what to do. So it's David Graeber who coined that term, the 99%, we're the 99%. Comes from him. So without the clarity, we can't brutally see, like clearly and honestly see all that's wrong, you know, and we have to see what's wrong. Even when we're positive, we still have to see and be critical and distinguish what we need to get rid of, because we don't want to repeat that. We don't just want to be anti the system we have now. We want to have good, conscious, creative ideas that become the foundation of a new society. So another great book, I'm just going to rant off a load of good books at the moment that I read not long ago, is Winners Take All from Anand Giridharadas. And he paints the picture of what's basically going on and how even really good intentioned individuals who do business on an ethical level still take up these ideas which come down from the very wealthy who have no intention of actually bettering the world in a way that will decrease their income in any way. So it's not structural or systemic change. They're just talking about change, like they want to be philanthropic as long as they can still get 99% of the income from all humans. So it's very hypocritical, and we've got to be honest about that. Don't wait for these kinds of people to save you. There is no Prince Charming. We are our own Prince Charming. So we need to get clear on what needs to get changed, what needs to get uprooted, what needs to be unearthed. How do we plow these new fields that we want for our society? How do we replace the structures that are here? And we can only replace them by understanding what those structures are. How can we create projects, work, relationships, dynamics, and systems, beliefs, habits, and values that are going to uphold all of us, also the weak, also those who can't contribute in the way that we think is vital and necessary. So another thing I think is standing in our way is the woke culture. I mean, I agree, be conscious, but don't be woke. Don't be against everything. You still have to have these open conversations that listen to very different ends of the spectrum of whatever subject we're talking about. I've also noticed, not lately now, I'm dismantling that again, but there was a point where I just wanted to listen to my kind of story, my kind of people, which is not what I mean when I say just stay positive. I mean, trust, have hope, trust in humanity, humankind, in our species. Yeah, trust each other, because that's another thing that you see from these hierarchical structures and systems. It's all about division. And wokeness is totally dividing people. So please wake up to that. So there's another book. What's his name? Vivek Swami Rama, I believe, or Ramaswamy. No, Swami Rama. He's written Woke Inc. That's also a suggested, recommended book. And you can watch him, and you can watch Graeber. He does some great talks, and so does Anand Giridharadas. So these are people inspiring and help us to see underneath the facade we've all come to believe and hoped in, and now we're seeing that's a load of crap. But how is it a load of crap? How does it work? How is it maintained? We have to understand how these structures are maintained again and again and again. Over millennia now, this has been held up by the elite, by the rich, by the nobles, so-called nobles. Yeah, and there's lots of people who want to maintain this because they've given their whole lives to this system. So you don't want it to fail, because that means you've stuck your whole life into an oppressive way of life for many. No one wants to be accountable for that, but that is basically what we're facing. So anyway, I'm going to stop talking about this. And so, okay, we're at this space now, right here and now, where life is basically disintegrating. The things are dissolving, and it's a scary process, but at the same time, it's a beautiful process, because it means that there's space for something new to grow. And that's what yoga is all about, and mindfulness. It's about coming into a new space, creating more space, letting go of old patterns and finding new healthy ones and letting them become the habits of your life. So what we can start with as a practice is just get comfortable, sitting, lying, whatever you want to do, but make sure you're doing it with energy, with dignity. You're not just surrendering and giving up. We can do that all winter. So I've set myself 2 weeks to just get in bed. What do you call that? I've just lost some words here. My vocabulary is disappearing. I've ordered, there you go, it's because it's an oppressive word. I've ordered lots of books. I'm trying to lose all the oppressive language. I've ordered lots of books so I can just stay 2 weeks in bed, read books, go maybe for a walk, see some friends, have a tea somewhere, but then come back and just hibernate. And that's what I mean with positivity. You know, soak yourself, nourish yourself, immerse yourself in good stuff. Things like in one way, I just want to relax, but in another way, I know I can't relax until I understand what's going on and how I, on a personal level, can make changes that I'm capable of influencing our world. I don't want to be a bystander. I don't want to wait around for Prince Charming. So the practice basically is just very simple, using imagination, using the breath, using your body. So coming to a seated position, just place your hands on your heart and just feel the breath. Feel the heart moving as you breathe in and out. Feel the chest rising and falling like waves. And just allow yourself to center and feel that you're heavy. Feel the earth element in you, that which is manifest, that which we want to manifest. Take a few deep breaths. With the out breath, just allow yourself to settle, allow the mind to become calm through the breathing. Breathing in, breathing out. Just check in with your heart and ask your heart, what does it need to be truly happy? What kind of world would make you, your heart, your deepest sense of self feel safe, feel loved, feel welcome, feel like there's this belonging, not just to yourself and your surroundings, but to the planet, to your human family, the bigger family, to the animals, to the solar system, to our galaxy, to the universe. What does your heart need for that to be a reality? Not just when we check in with ourselves, but when we walk into any situation. So what would that world look like? What would our world look like for you to walk into every situation? How would people greet each other? What kind of level of integrity would people have at work, in the home, at schools, outside, when there's leisure? What kind of level of freedom would we have in our ability to express ourselves, to be ourselves fully, on the full continuum of being a human in a complex society, complex world, complex time? How would we support each other? What kind of work would we be working in to feel fully fulfilled? Each one of us, 8 billion of us, not just the lucky few, everyone. Imagine that. Imagine how you would feel knowing that everyone on the planet feels fulfilled and has meaning in their life and contributes in their own way, which is enough for everyone else. There's no set standard of what level you have to arrive to. There's no looking down on an unconscious or subconscious level even, because someone can't contribute the level that you contribute. There's just this sense of pure, honest integrity, appreciation, thankfulness, respect, dignity for each living creature, plants, animal, human, all the way down to cellular, planetary. Imagine how you would feel. How would you walk around? What would you see? And breathe that in. What would you hear? What would you taste? What would you smell? Allow the senses to really absorb this. With each in-breath, feel that you're filling up this world, making it more real. And with each out-breath, Allow it to grow roots, to go deeper into the earth, to nourish itself, to seek the nourishment, and to be able to take that nourishment without any hierarchy. Remember those networks underneath the earth between the fungi and the plants. That's how we should be working together. Not because we want profit for ourselves. Not because a few say we have to do it this way or that. Just because that's how life actually functions. We're living in these very unhealthy models of society and we think that's the only track. It's not. It's one track and we got stuck, like Graeber said. Why did we get stuck? That's what we have to find out. But now we're just focusing on how it can be different. Just use your fantasy, use your imagination. That's what it's good for, because imagination calls up emotions. Emotions call up charge. Charge creates something, makes it a manifest or a condensed essence of something, which can then become a physical manifestation. The more it gathers this energy and momentum, the more it becomes a reality. So use your senses to feel that world, to see how you would work in that world, to see how you would relate to others and they would relate to you. How would you feel? How empowered would that be? And how empowering can you be to others in that world? What are the things that are in the way of not living like that? What holds back our ability to live in that world, to make our world this kind of future? What are the shackles that we have placed on our minds, on our bodies, on our mouths, on our hearts? How have we caught ourselves? How are we fooling ourselves? How are we stopping ourselves from taking our power back, from reclaiming what is rightfully ours? Freedom, connection, wealth, abundance in the sense of feel good satisfaction, not in the sense of finance. That is such a limited aspect. We need to think bigger. So what's in the way? See that. Is it your fears? Is it beliefs? Is it certain people or structures? Just see that as an energy. What kind of quality or overarching principle does this have, these shackles? Is it domination? Is it oppression? Is it suppression, repression? Is it small-mindedness? Is it contraction? Whatever it is, however you can experience this. Bring it in your mind's eye, so bring it really clear. Focus on it. And now if you haven't got the space in front of you, I want you to move back. So you do have space. You want to have enough space to lift your arms up, okay? Make your feet strong. If you're sitting on the ground, come into a squatting position. Feet nice and wide. Press the feet on the floor. If you're sitting on a chair, you can still have your feet wide, pressing the feet on the floor. And then you raise the arms over the head. Look at your axe. You have an axe in your hands. And as you breathe out, you're going to come down with the axe. Just let it drop. If you never chop wood, it's a heavy metal thing and it just falls down. You allow it to slice into that wood and you go, ah. And we'll do that 5 times. So I want you to bring into your mind's eye this thing which you need to get rid of. You personally in your life. It can be a big thing or a small thing. Doesn't matter. What do you need to get rid of? The first step you can take, actual step you can take to get rid of this thing so that we can move into this future that we all want and we all have to make happen. It's not going to happen by a few people. Don't wait for Elon Musk or what's his name, Gates. These are just, I don't know what they are, but they're definitely not saviors. Breathing in, lift up. Look at your axe. See in your mind's eye what you want to get rid of and okay, so when we say hearts, it's the way the people in India say yes. Okay, breathing in. One more. Breathe in and chop it away. Okay? And now just feel the energy. Maybe you feel a little bit of anger, excitement, or power. That's good. You want to have that. And then again, settle, arrive, become heavy. Relax the shoulders, relax the face. And then just opening the eyes. Okay, and I want you to write down what you think is in your way of moving into this world. It can be something very personal, it can be professional, it can be greater, it can be communal. So just think how you can change that. Write it down. I want you to write it down. Really get clear on what you can make happen, especially in these next 4 months. What project can you start? Which people can you start meeting or having conversations with? Or can you join a group online or something like this? Really a real actual communal societal act. Maybe it's just, I spoke to one of the women in the community center, and she's overweight and she has lots of issues and she's been unemployed for years. But now she's starting to feel good about herself because she's doing the sport and the yoga. And she said to me last that she wants to just do volunteer work. And you can see she started to shine when she was talking about this. Everyone wants to feel significant. Everyone wants to feel that they're part of this planet. And everyone wants to contribute. So in whatever way you can contribute to someone else's work. And she said, I'm just going to go help old people and go walk with them and drink a tea with them and talk to them. So that's a contribution. People are less lonely. It doesn't have to be big, but how can you contribute in a way that you can? Because not giving back is what makes most of us ill. We're all here to give, to take care of one another. That's another beautiful thing that Graeber says really well. Anyway, I have to go. So I'm going to end it here. And I hope you enjoyed. Please leave me some comments. Write me an email or something. I'd like to know what you're thinking. I'd like to know what place you are in right now. So enjoy the winter. Take this time to rest. Use this solstice, the winter solstice in the north and summer solstice in the south. This next 4 months is when we can really channel that which we want to create. And don't think just about yourself. Think big. Think about how we can change this world. You can and do have power. You have to get clear. See it in your mind's eye. See where you want to go to. That's your destination. And see what's going to get in the way and how are you going to get rid of it. How are you going to prevent those things getting in your way? Or what do you need to do? Maybe a course, maybe a training, maybe you read books. Maybe you need to speak to people, whatever it is. Anyway, take care, be well, sending you much love and strength and power. Bye.